Welcome to this week's episode of Listen to Your Coaches. I'm your coach, Mike Wilkins, here with Coach Will Morrill. And on the ones and twos behind the camera, we got a young Max Gerald. All right, let's get to it. This week, we're going to talk about the UFC 315, a UFC fight night, and some other things. Let's jump into it. How did we feel about this week's event?
Dude, I thought it was a good one. I thought it was a fun card.
Yeah, well, let's start with the main event.
Yeah, let's work.
I thought it was a great fight. I thought it was an entertaining fight. I enjoyed it. I feel like a lot of people just like hate Bilal, but like after that,
yeah,
like,
man, how
you know
could
what I mean?
you?
Like, dude, that was a great fight.
It takes two to tango, and
Yeah.
if that's gonna, go down as like an awesome classic fight, then like, how are you gonna hate on Bilal for being a part of that? You know?
For sure.
And it's not like he just like got beat up. He had his moments, So no, I thought it was excellent.
Yeah. So I scored the fight. I think I had it 4-1 JDM. If you scored it 3-2 JDM, I could understand. But Max scored the fight 4-1 Bilal, and I would like for him to get on and explain that.
Come on, Max.
I just thought Bilal's ability to like really hurt JDM's fists with his forehead was super impressive. So that really swayed me towards Bilal there.
Right.
Speaking of JDM using his forehead, what did you think about him like level changing and kind of like PA style using his head to defend some shots?
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it was super sick, right?
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah. I loved it. Are you kidding me?
That's Australian wrestling right there.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, is Craig Jones like an unsung hero of MMA grappling coaching?
If you would have said that like a couple like weeks or months ago or whatever, I'd have been like, nah, dude. He just like shows up, does a couple weeks with these guys, and it's just in the corner, whatever. But I remember, I think you sent me that video of him discussing someone's fight and the way that he talked about like MMA and the depth of it and like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like his knowledge of not just grappling but like actual MMA was really impressive.
It was It was the preparation for Volk and Diego Lopez.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, like you saw some of his style in JDM. Do you remember? I forget what round it was, but he's getting taken down, and he like reached across and went. Was it octopus guard or whatever? Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's Craig Jones stuff right there.
Yeah.
So like, I do think he is like having an influence on these guys, And I know he likes to joke like, oh, I just show up and hold the bucket, but I do think Craig Jones is gonna be a mainstay in MMA for a while.
Yeah, I think so as well, and it's clearly working out. I mean, currently, Craig Jones has 2 champions. I mean, like obviously he's not their main coach,
right? Yeah. But he does,
Yeah, 2 champs.
Now, what do you think he's gonna do to prepare for Islam?
So, I mean, think about that. Like, he's already prepared for him twice.
Yeah.
Well, like, I guess maybe not twice. Maybe like 1.1.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It was like a 1 week notice, but Volk looked good against Islam in that first fight, especially in like the grappling exchanges. And now you got a 170-pound version. So,
and also the connection between Bilal and Islam. So it's like,
right.
Oh, you're kind of like, rinse and repeat. But also, it's like, how much better is Islam? Also, let me ask you this: how big do you think Islam is? Do you think he's a legit welterweight?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, like if he decides to be, yeah.
Yeah, no, I could see that. Yeah. What else do we have to talk about with this fight? So obviously Jack's boxing looked incredible, right? He's so good at staying at that like mid-range, moving his head, countering. And even when he does decide to fully disengage, he does it in like appropriate ways. He doesn't just like step straight back, I mean, that's how boxing should look in MMA, in my opinion.
Yeah, looks great. What I'm more interested in is what's the story that unfolds now? With the division. So we know it's JDM and Islam, right? So what does that do with the rest of the bunch? And don't forget, now Bilal's back in.
Are you talking at 170 or 55?
At 170. So let's do both. So we're talking at 170. Let's start at 170. It's more prevalent right now. But originally we were like, oh, if JDM wins, then this guy fights this guy. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, if Bilal wins, give him let's go Brody next. Mm-hmm. But what we weren't taking into account when we were doing all those like matchmakings is we never put the loser in a fight. Mm-hmm. We just completely not to my knowledge. I don't remember.
No, I don't think
being
we did.
Like, oh yeah. So like we just were like the loser ceased to exist.
Right. Yeah.
So we got to put Bilal back in now with Islam fighting JDM next. What do you think? That gives Shavkat time. Does Shavkat come back into a title fight now?
So here's what I think
like
happens.
the winner of that.
I think before this fight went down, some of the Bradys and some of the other guys up at the top thought that they might be able to like weight their way into a title shot. However, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think they know that. I saw a thing where Brady was talking about like he's willing to fight whoever. I
think I saw Brady call out Ian Gary.
I'm not sure if I saw that, but that makes sense to me. And I think that's actually the fight they make.
I like that fight. Brady, Ian Gary. Hold on.
I think Brady
who's
crushes
Usman
Gary.
fighting?
Usman's
Buckley,
fighting
right?
Buckley, yes.
And then who's Leon Edwards fighting? Anybody?
He's not scheduled.
Okay. So what do you do with Bilal? What do you do with Shavkat? Like,
All right, here's what you do. You go
Bilal,
Leon
Shavkat?
Bilal 3. Shavkat's out. I think for the next wave of fights that are going to happen at this weight, I think he's just out because like I mean, what did he do to his knee? ACL? Like what do we know?
I think it was an MCL injury.
which means he should be back.
He just got surgery like last week.
Wait, he got surgery on an MCL?
Whatever it was that was wrong, he got surgery on it
Okay,
like last
well, if he
week.
got surgery, then that's different. I've never heard of anybody getting surgery on an MCL alone. Right? It's like, oh, well, while you're in there getting your ACL done,
Yeah.
you know, because MCLs, even like a clean tear, I think usually reattaches itself.
Well, either
but
way,
I'm not a doctor.
I'm just going to assume he's out of this next round of fights. I think they go Brady and Gary, and I think Gary gets destroyed.
Yeah.
Then I think they go, or what they should do at least, is Bilal and Leon 3. I don't think they will actually
you were
do that.
serious about that?
I am serious. I like that because I would like to see Leon get one back, and I think he's capable of it. Oh wait, would that actually be 4?
No.
Was the eye poke the first one?
Yeah, eye poke.
Eye
and
poke, then he
this.
got crushed, and then he's got to get one back. So, I like that. And then Usman and Buckley, then Gary, Jack. Yeah, that takes care of everyone. Burns.
And then we're just saying Shavkat's on the back burner right now because Burns is fighting Morales this weekend.
Right. So that fills everyone's
And
schedule.
then you've got like Colby, Jeff Neal, and Stephen Thompson just like floating in the middle there.
I mean, dude, if you want to get Colby back in the mix, feed him till Shavkat when he gets back.
I say Colby versus Prates.
Oh, I don't like that because I think Colby could beat Prates, and I don't want to see that.
That's why I like it. Let's get it going.
Or you know what? Maybe Prates starches him. Let's get it.
That's 100% possible. A possibility.
Yeah.
One thing that like surprised me about Colby is he's always at the fights,
Dude, he's always just like on,
and he's like walking backstage all the time.
and also he's
know?
just like visible on social media. Did you see the thing where he like hid Bilal's food at the PI?
Yeah.
And then Bilal was like, "I'm not even there."
Nah, I mean, I didn't see Bilal's response, but I saw that. But he's like walking backstage at the events and stuff, and I heard that even after the fighters fight, they like get him out of there.
Yeah, that's right. Didn't
Ever since
Walker
like,
get like
COVID?
kicked out of the arena or
Yeah,
something?
and they've been keeping that going, from my understanding. Like it's not like, oh, after you
Interesting.
fight, you can just like hang
Right,
around.
yeah.
You know, it's like, all right, we got to get you out of here.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah, Colby Covington's just like got free reign of the back.
He's clip farming.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, he must still.
Did I
have
use
some
that right,
type of-
Max?
Somebody in the
That's close
UFC
enough,
must still like they have an affinity for him. Like, you know, think that he's valuable somewhere to be
Oh.
allowing him back.
Dude,
stuff
I think
like
the
that.
UFC loves having him around because they know there's people like me who absolutely hate him. And if he's fighting, I'm absolutely watching. You know, like I want to see him get crushed. So, you know.
All right, cool. That's 170. Let's move to 155. Go
So-
back on rankings, bro.
Obviously, we're thinking the next thing then is Topuria Oliveira for the vacant title, correct?
No, for what I would imagine would be an interim title.
Oh, okay. So Islam's not giving it up?
Islam said he's not giving it up. Now, if they force that, maybe they can force it.
Because I thought that when Ilya moved up, was it the UFC that said that they weren't going to allow that anymore? Or like, I thought I'd seen something about that.
Max weigh-in.
That was something that Diego Lopez apparently was told, and then Dana went on an interview later, like that week, and was like, "We're not like I didn't say that we can't have double champs anymore."
Gotcha.
And Islam said last week that he's not vacating his title, so
Right.
I saw
unless
that, but
something
I-
changes, you would
Gotcha.
assume it's going to be for an interim.
Also, the UFC just gets to like run by their own rules. So, you know.
I mean, that too, just because like they said, I mean, they allowed it before, and if they're like, we're not allowing it now, they can all. They made the decision to change that. They can make the decision to change it again.
Yeah.
But like, actually, we are allowing it again. Like, you know. But yeah, I think like the whole Ilya vacating that was mainly him being like, I'm never. Like,
Right.
There's no point in me having it because I'm not coming back here.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got Ilya and Oliveira for the what I would assume would be an interim title, unless they just run it as number one contender fight.
Which I am selfishly very happy everything went down the way it did, because that's the fight that intrigues me the most.
Really?
Yeah. Like stylistically, I shouldn't say. Okay, let me separate these things. Stylistically, like a fight I want to watch, that's the fight I want to watch. But in terms of like greatness and who's actually like the best, then I guess it would be the Islam fight. And you tend to be a sport guy, I tend to be an entertainment guy.
I definitely would have rather had the Islam Ilya fight.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
But I'm not mad at Islam getting the shot at 170. I mean, he's given the 45er the shot twice.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Granted, one was on short notice. And, like, dude, his resume just does not look... Islam's resume does not look great, and it's not his fault.
For sure. Yeah, he's doing exactly what he should do.
He's constantly there to fight, and he's taking, like... He's like, oh, I'm supposed to fight the number one ranked guy, Arman Sarukian, and... his back goes out, so now I have to fight the number 9 guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and he's doing what he should. He's crushing the number 9.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Islam's awesome. And I'm glad he's getting a shot at it, you know? Like, I also feel like if he gets a title at 170, that's his chance to, like, get out from the shadow of Khabib. You know what I mean? And, like, kind of, like, prove he's great in his own way, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So, I'm happy for him.
All right, let's push. Next fight, Valentina Shevchenko versus... How do you say it?
We're just going to say Manon.
Manon.
Yeah, I thought it was a okay fight. Not my favorite fight. Not the worst fight.
I agree.
I thought the decision was good.
I got to tell you, though, after the first round, I thought Valentina was going to steamroll her.
Dude, me too. Me too.
So, like, shout out to
Manon. Also, how big does she look?
She looks big.
Do they have a height for her on this, or no? She looked really tall, though.
Yeah, I think she's tall.
5'7" for 25er. That's pretty tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, she showed that she's definitely like she belonged there for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, Shevchenko's just got like a really deep skill set. The one thing that really bothers me about Shevchenko is she goes to that schoolyard head.
Dude, yeah.
That bothers me.
That bothers me. Yeah, it bothers me too, but hey, what are you going to do? So Shevchenko, who's she got next? Do you give her... Scroll down. What's her name? Silva? What's her name?
Yeah. I think it's Natalia.
Natalia Silva, who looked unreal.
Dude.
Or do you go Wei Li? I want him to go Wei Li.
Dude, I would prefer Wei Li.
Yeah.
Now I'm leaning towards you, sport-wise. I want to see Wei Li like show some greatness, you know, up a weight class. In terms of what would be like the most fun fight, I do think that Silva would make for. Well, I don't know. Wei Li's pretty dynamic. Dude, as well.
I feel like it's a reward to like rewarding Wei Li. You know?
And also actually, if we get Wei Li, we'll also get more wrestling in that fight, like in a good way. You know what I mean? Like neither of them lay and pray. You know, so
right.
Which a lot of Shevchenko haters are like, oh, she's so boring, and I don't think that's the case. Like I think. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, no, I think that'd be a fun fight. If they go Silva, I wouldn't be mad at that. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Wei Li would be the best one. Yeah. You got anything else of note in this fight? No. I mean, it was just a solid performance by Shevchenko.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving. All right.
Oh, here it is.
Let's discuss.
Dude, okay. Let's discuss.
Let's just start with the scoring. How did you score it?
Okay, so I got checked on scoring by my wife checked me on it. So originally... going into the third round, I had it 2-0 Aldo going into the third.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, you know, I wasn't like, it is 2-0. I was like, I have it 2-0. Right? And then in the third round, I was like, bro, this might be a 10-8 round. Right? And I was like, and the fight was over, and I was like, I think this is a draw. I think it's 28-28 because I had Aldo up 2-0. Right? And then I had him losing the third 10-8.
Okay.
And then Katie checked me on it, and she was like, can you be 10-8'd after, like, head kick dropping somebody? And I was like, oh, maybe not. No, because, like, he significantly won a portion of the round. I do think he lost the round. But
I agree.
like I don't think he would got 10-8'd because of the success earlier on. So I was like, oh, there you go, you caught me because I could have.
Yeah.
Like I would have. I was like, oh, that's a 10-8.
Dude, okay. I'm so glad you brought that up. So I had similar feelings going into the third. I also had it 2-0 Aldo. I'm not like super tied to the second round going for Aldo. I heard some people being like, "Oh, Zahabi's volume was better," and like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm such an Aldo lover that like
It could have been that too.
But I mean, I do think he won those first 2 rounds. But regardless, dude, that third round, I have gone back and forth in my head a couple of times on like how it should be scored because, okay, so let's say that you get however long Aldo was winning for, right, until he got tired. If you took just that, that's a 10-8.
It was 2 minutes.
Okay, so you take that 2 minutes, right? 10-8 Aldo, right? Like pretty clearly.
I wouldn't have said that was 10-8.
Really?
I mean, he knocked him down. Like if that was all that there was, I would still score that a 10-9 round.
You know what? Maybe
I mean, he knocked him down with that head kick. The head kick that we were all like, whoa.
Yeah.
Was that all right? Was that a legal head kick? Right?
Which
We all thought the same
in the
thing.
moment.
Like in the moment, like no one was like that was illegal, but
Right.
no one was like, oh, that was
Yeah,
legal.
yeah.
We were all like, what was that?
Which, dude, by the way, seeing the replay of it, I do think it was legal. And also, the fact that he went from like his head down on one side to getting like lifted off the
up
floor.
and choose back, dude. Yeah.
Dude, that's like one of the best head kicks of all time. It was
Yeah.
so sick. I don't know, man. He was hurt, right? You don't think that was a 10-8?
No.
Up until that point? Okay, interesting. But then, so then the question is like, who got hurt worse, right? Because I would say that head kick probably did more like internal like brain like hurting than the elbows did. That's more superficial. But I would still give the damage advantage to Zahabi.
Yeah.
So I ended that round 10-9 Zahabi.
Yeah, I ended it that like it was between for me it was between 10-8 Zahabi versus 10-9 Zahabi, and because of me
dominance.
omitting the 2 minutes, which
Right.
like goes to tell you, like, you know what I mean? Like, what are the judges remembering too? If that's what I remembered,
For
you
sure.
know?
Also, I think that's an important point too. I was thinking about this before the pod. Like, when we talk about fights, like this is us enjoying them as fans. I feel like people expect us to have like better insight into like the scoring and stuff. It's like, nah, I just watched it and I like Aldo, so I think he won the second round. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So I think if we pulled the actual scorecards, it was first round Aldo, second and third Zahabi.
Yes.
On the official scorecards. So, but that also means there was not a 10-8 given.
Correct.
In any round.
Right.
So
Yeah, man. I think that. I mean, I do. Think
I
that-
have something kind of funny that happened during this fight.
Why don't you share this?
So I'm sitting there, me and Katie are watching it, you know, and I see GSP in the corner, and I'm like, GSP's in the corner, right?
Why was that surprising?
Because like, who else does he corner? Does he corner anybody?
Yeah, but it's like his coaches.
Bro,
Oh,
so
sorry,
relax. Relax. So I'm like, GSP's in the corner. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, is he like coaching now? I'm like, that's so sick. Like, think about, I mean, I know he just dropped like instructional recently. I'm like, what if he's in the like, what if he's like, you know, like, yeah, I'm going to be a coach. And like, one of the things that I always loved about GSP is like, I thought a lot of his greatness was not like,
It wasn't his.
it was more than
physicality.
physical.
Yes.
Like it was 100%. Like there was so much physical
Right,
to
right.
it. Okay, let me try to dial this down. I think GSP was replicable, right? I don't think he had a special like outlier physical ability, like unreal wingspan, like super speed, like crazy strength. I think he worked and earned for everything he got, right? And because he worked and earned for everything he got, nothing was like easily handed to him. Then he could more likely impart that upon others.
Yes.
So I think that he would make a phenomenal coach because of that. And it's not always a great fighter becoming a great coach, because we see, as a lot of us know, right? Like a lot of it was like the intangible, and then that great fighter can't imagine you not having the intangible, right?
And also, some of them aren't just good at conveying information, but
Well,
like
yeah, and then
GSP
there's-
is good at speaking.
Yes, you know. And so I was like, yo, he would be a great coach. So I see him in the corner, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, here we go. We're about to enter the GSP coaching era, right? And it was literally like nearly the end of the second round. And then I was like, oh, dude. I like giggled. I like laughed to myself, and I was like, huh, this guy has the same last name as Faraz.
Yeah.
And then it hit me like and then immediately as I said it, like I was like, huh. Like I just was like, huh, he has the same last name as Faraz. I was like, that's great. And I was like, I wonder if they're related. And then it was like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh, right, like you know what I mean. And then it all made sense. And then I was like, oh, GSP's in the corner because of that.
Yeah.
There was a funny moment in the corner too, with GSP and Faraz and Faraz's brother.
What's his name? Eamon. Yeah.
Yeah. So Faraz is clearly the head corner. He's in there. They got him on the stool. I don't know which rounds it's in between, but I want to imagine it's in between the second and third. And Faraz is like in his face and he's spitting. Bop, 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 bop. And then he goes, okay, George, it's you're up, right? And George St. Pierre was like, what? Like you could tell that he was just sitting there and like, cause like, so Faraz, so Eamon is sitting in the stool, back on the cage, looking forward directly at Faraz, who is kneeling in his face. Yeah. Right? So, like, you know, like where the lead corner goes, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the secondary corner on the side with the ice and stuff, right? You know what I mean? Being the secondary. So, George was being the secondary, and he's also looking at Faraz as Faraz is spitting, right? Because Faraz is spitting some gold, you know? Dude. And stuff. And then he goes, all right, George, you're up. And he was like, dude,
he had
like,
nothing prepared.
It was all over his. He was like, he didn't say it, but like, you know, it's just like he was like, what? He was like, he was like, yes, you must do what he said.
That's so funny.
Like he was like, dude, like put me on the spot. Like I didn't know I was talking. Oh, dude, it was so good.
That's hilarious. That's so good, dude. Yeah, dude. So overall, okay, what do you think about the people who are saying that Aldo got robbed?
Got robbed?
Yeah.
I think you're just a really big Aldo fan. And, you know, like, you could still think he won, but, like, I mean, like, robbed.
That's the other thing, too. Kind of, I think we were discussing this before the pod as well, is, like, the problem with our scoring system is if something's close, then it's just like, I could see it going 10-9 either direction, and you can't really be upset when it does.
Yeah, and then it's like
And then people are like, oh, it's a robbery. And it's like, no, it's not. It was a close fight, and I do think that Aldo won, but is it a robbery? No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all I got for this fight. What you got?
That's it.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. So Alexa Grasso and Natalia Silva. Dude, who is this Natalia Silva? Where did she come from?
Okay, so I actually was aware of her before this. I saw her fight, I want to say 2 fights ago, and I was really impressed with her striking.
Who's been beating her? She's 19-5. She got 5 losses. She looked like a world beater in this fight.
So, okay, all right. First off, I did see Silva fight. I want to say it was 2 fights ago, and I was really impressed with her. And I was obviously impressed in this. The first thing I have to say about Silva, though, the one thing she did that was not effective at all that she kept doing that was kind of bothering me is she kept hip fainting, like literally just moving her hip. And it looked like she was like dancing in the middle of the fight, and Grasso didn't bite on a single one. I was like, if she's not biting on the feint, stop fainting, start throwing the kick. And also that, like the hip feint didn't look like a kick. So it's just like that bothered me.
Dude.
Outside of that, she looked incredible.
Long con. Double contestas. I'm telling you right now, it's double contestas. So
one day we're gonna have to explain what that means.
All right, so here goes the deal, right? Grasso wasn't biting on it, but Natalia kept hip feinting it, right? And Grasso wasn't capitalizing on it either, right? So Natalia's future opponents are going to be like, I'm not going to bite on the hip feint, but not only am I not going to bite on it, like it puts her out of position, I'm going to capitalize on it, and it ain't going to be a feint no more. She's going to be firing that boy. I'm telling you, it's double contested.
So I hope you're right. With that said, I don't think that the hip feint looked enough like a real kick for it to even matter. But we will find out. You might be right. Okay, my next question on this. How much of it, because it's obviously a little bit of both, how much of it was Silva looking good and how much of it was Grasso looking bad? And obviously part of Grasso looking bad was Silva doing what she needed to do. But let me rephrase the question. If you were in Grasso's corner, do you think, or game plan, whatever, maybe not in the moment, like, do you think you or anyone could have, like, imparted a better game plan or using some skills perhaps that she hasn't developed? Or
man, I don't got an answer for you. I wasn't that dialed in.
That's fair. That's fair. I thought that just like her lack of ability to cut the cage like at all was really not showing of someone at that level. Like I I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful here because obviously she's a great fighter, but like I was pretty disappointed in her ability or her lack of ability in cutting the cage.
Yeah.
With that said, Silva, great movement in, out, side to side, and Dominic Cruz actually made some like good points, despite being very annoying.
Damn talk.
I'm a known love-hate relationship with Cruz, but he was like, Silva's not just running. He's like, she's pulling Grasso into strikes, and like that was very true. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Silva's. If she doesn't get the next title shot, she's up there.
Yep, for sure. All right. Do you guys want to talk about anything else on the card? Oh, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Did you see this fight?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Dude, BSD. Okay, first off, his jiu-jitsu, obviously he didn't get that choke in the first, but like I thought that his jiu-jitsu looked super, super sick.
Dude, it did. It looked super sick.
And you know what else looked sick?
Clinch.
His clinch, bro. And you know what's crazy is his clinch didn't even look like if I had to give it like an overall score of like 100 just being perfect, maybe an 85. Like, dude, I promise you, we're going to start seeing in the next like 5 years some guys who really know how to clinch and hand trap and like fight in that position in the UFC. And I mean, again, even at like what I would rate an 85, he was dominant, hit some like crazy.
Dude, I am a huge believer in like investing in the clinch.
Yes.
I'm a huge believer in investing in it. Yeah.
So clinch is back, you know, and then obviously he got that arm triangle round two. I think BSD is one of those dudes who like, I mean, on a good day he can beat like maybe not anyone, but like he can beat a lot of really top guys, you know. So I'm interested to see what he does. Did you also see that apparently either this fight or two fights before or whatever, he like didn't really have a coach?
No.
I heard that somewhere. Yeah, apparently he was just kind of like training on his own.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it might have even been the Poirier fight. I'm gonna forget, but
He didn't have a coach for that? And Max, you didn't do anything about that. You didn't invite him to come train with us?
To come train with us?
Yeah.
You're welcome to hit him up. I'm sure he would appreciate it. He's already got good enough clinch. I'm sure he can get in with Will. And his jiu-jitsu's nice, so he's pretty much got all you guys need. He might have a little kind of poor hygiene, though. He's always coming into fights with...
Yeah, some type of staff looking.
Yeah, he's always got staff looking stuff on him, so...
Yep, you know what? You're out.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Mike Malott. Jeez. Did you see his brother?
What? No.
His brother got in a fight this week.
Wait, are you being serious?
Yep.
I didn't know he had a
Oh,
brother.
yeah. Max knows about it, right, Max?
Fill me in.
LA
Yeah,
Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah, the LA
He's a hockey player?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's
his
sick.
brother,
Canadian, dude,
I
of
think it
course.
was like his NHL debut fight or whatever.
Wait, like his first fight in the NHL, or
I believe
his
so.
debut game in the NHL, and he
I
fought
believe
there?
it was his first fight in the NHL, and I'm not, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he definitely fought this week.
That's pretty sick, dude. He and his brother are
The
just like
NHL.
living the Canadian athletic dreams.
Dude, they are.
That's so sick. I've always liked Mike Malott. I like his like style of striking. I thought that like even though Radke was like super disrespectful, I thought Malott was like pretty cool about it, and like, you know,
How was
handled that
Racky?
well.
Like, I'm not, oh, hold on, here we go.
It wasn't anything crazy, but
The Malott brothers
Okay,
know
here's the
how to
fight.
fight. Here we go. We've got
which team is he on?
the black.
Okay.
The LA Kings.
Oh, I see his jersey now. Okay.
Yeah. Boom. Boom.
Oh,
Matt
dude.
Wright. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Who's he fighting?
Ooh.
Clark. Yeah. And there goes Mike right there.
Dude, decent punching too. His first two were right down the
You
center.
don't think that he knows how to fight? Like, he clearly,
Yeah, obviously.
he knows how. He's not just like a hockey dude. Like, there's no shot that your brother's a pro fighter and you don't know nothing about it.
Yeah, dude, there's no way.
You know what I mean?
It looked like he had a better grip. Yeah, dude, that was sick. But back to this Malott. What did you think about his fight? Oh, so Radke walked into weigh-ins, American flag, booing the crowd, whatever, and then Malott
Nice.
went up to shake his hand, and Radke was just like, nah.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought Malott was cool that he like wasn't super disrespectful. And I think at one point even the crowd's booing him. And he's like, "Don't boo him. That's in the past now.
He was
Positivity
like, we're
only."
celebrating. We're
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like, I don't know, I like Malott a lot, dude. I think he's a cool dude. And his skills, man, he's like really, really sharp standing, and he doesn't like overwhelm guys with like volume or anything. It's just when he cracks, and clearly able to finish it off in round 2 early. So, and if I remember correctly, he was the striking coach at Alpha Male for a while, right?
Who?
Malott?
He was a coach?
I believe so. Max,
Oh, I'm
does that
unaware.
sound? I might be mixing that up.
I know he trained there, but I didn't think he was a coach there.
I thought he like taught some striking there, whatever. But he like trained there, so obviously like he's gonna have some decent wrestling. Yeah, I think Malott is also one of those guys who we could see do some big things. Let's keep it moving. I mean,
I didn't see it.
Not a whole lot to talk about. Andrade
wait,
just
hold on.
got ragdolled.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
She was like, you have to be like a tank or something to take me down. And
Yeah.
Jazz Vicious was a tank, brother. She just easy. I mean, shot entry, timed it perfectly, dominated on the ground, got the choke. Halfway through round 1, complete dominance.
Dang. Go ahead.
Yeah, good for her.
All right, move it.
Okay, this is one I want to talk about.
Split
I don't want to talk about the
decision.
next 2, to be honest. So, split decision. We have 30-27 Bukowskis. Okay, got it. 30-27 Kutalaba, and then 29-28 Bukowskis. I did have it 29-28 for Kutalaba. Or was it 30-27 Kutalaba? Might have been. I think it was 29-28 I had it. He was just moving forward more. I do think it was a little crazy to have one of the scorecards where he didn't win a single round, but not like that crazy. So again, this is one of those ones DC was going off about, like, I think he was like saying it later in the thing too. He's like, it's the Montreal screw job, and just like going nuts about it. Again, it's one of those things where it's like MMA, the scoring, if you want it to not look like this, you need a different scoring system, because if a round is close, you can understand why someone would score it one way or the other. Right. With that said, I do think that 30-27 for Modestus was a little wild. So I don't want to defend it too much. But yeah, man, it is what it is. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
All right, next one, and this is where I got into the fights. So I missed either the first round or the first 2. But, dude, my man Navajo Sterling, bro, his striking is nice. Third round, he clips Urslan pretty badly. Urslan's hurt, and then, like, as soon as he kind of recovers, he's like, yeah, bring it, and then just gets beat up some more. And Sterling didn't finish him, but it was pretty dominant at the end of that fight there. So it looks like he lost the first round, though. So
Yeah, look at that.
interesting. Or maybe the second round, I don't know. I think I only saw the third. But, dude, Sterling is someone to watch at the light heavyweight division. He is, I've said this before, he's what you want Olberg to be, right? You see Olberg coming from City Kickboxing, you're like, oh, we're going to get like this aggressive striker. And he's like, not really that. He sits back, just kind of tries to rely on that check hook. Sterling is nice. So, yeah, we can expect to see some big things out of him. I didn't see any of the other fights, so not really worth talking about.
All right, cool. Let's push past.
All right. We got a fight this weekend,
We got a couple fights this weekend.
but we don't know what they are because, Max, you don't have it up, bro.
Oh, Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales.
Mike, why don't you tell us how you feel about this fight?
I got Gilbert Burns all the way.
What do you think about those odds?
I think those odds are delicious. Gilbert Burns going at a plus 550 allegedly on ESPN Bet. Michael Morales coming back at a minus 950. That's a huge dog, Gilbert Burns.
So when I saw that last week when we discussed it, I was like, oh, there, you got to go Burns, right? Like, Burns is so skilled. He's so tough. He's like, I mean, I think people forget, like, he's the first guy to drop Hamzat and Usman, right?
Yeah.
And also just like his skill. Wasn't he a jiu-jitsu world champ?
I don't think so.
No, okay, but he's like accomplished in jiu-jitsu,
Oh,
right?
very
Yeah.
accomplished,
And like
yeah.
obviously that's the. Oh wait, he was a gi guy, right?
He was everything.
I was under the impression he was like a real good gi guy, but
I mean, I don't know. He was good at everything.
either way, super skilled. And to see those odds, I was like, oh, you got to go Burns. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, oh man, he's 38. Morales is only 25. And then, like, maybe it's just seeing the odds that kind of scared me. So I don't know where I stand on this now. I think odds-wise, still maybe a little sprinkle on Burns. But are you going heavy on Burns?
Going heavy.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Heavy on Burns.
Just because you mentioned it, Burns, I looked up his BJJ accolades. He won IBJJF in 2011, and then he won IBJJF no-gi in 2013.
Was the first one gi?
Yeah,
I think so.
It was a
Yeah.
black belt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
He's got definitely some. I remember hearing about it when he came into to MMA. He started really getting big at welterweight. He has a lot of like really solid BJJ credentials, like
Yeah.
world championship level
That's sick.
Yeah.
credentials.
I think the question here is just going to be, is the age going to catch up to him? And I really hope that you're right, Mike.
This is a 5-round fight. How's Michael Morales looked in late rounds?
Never
We
been
don't
there.
know. Right? We don't know.
And was Burns
'Cause he's a
comes up
sprinter.
5?
No, that was,
That was
3.
three.
And he dogged them up in the third.
He did.
He
What
gassed.
I'm trying to think. Burns and 5 rounders. Can you think of any?
Kamaru.
That was a 5 round. Oh, yeah, but he got stopped in the third, right?
He got stopped in the third, but Burns and Sean Brady was 5 rounds.
That was a 5
That was
rounder.
five.
that one.
rounder.
That won all 5 rounds.
That was competitive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Burns probably has an advantage in the later rounds.
Dude, to be a plus 550, come on, Doug. Like, that's crazy. Like, you can tell me he's an underdog.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he might lose. You know, but dude, who here is putting $950 on Michael Morales to return $100?
Not me.
You know what I mean? Is anybody taking Michael
Dude,
Morales?
what is up with these odds? How did this happen? James Krause must be betting on these or something.
Dude,
like.
something crazy.
Did you see that video I sent you about the Krause scandal?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right.
I like the scandals.
Let's keep it moving. Oh, hold on. So official picks. You're taking Burns?
Yep.
Oh, man. I might sprinkle a little of the betting on Burns, but I am going to go Morales on my pick.
All right.
Max,
I'm
who you
running
got?
the same thing you are. I'm gonna put a little bit on Burns just because those odds are ridiculous, but I'm definitely taking Morales as an actual pick. And since we're using DraftKings for our actual betting picks, I will say Michael Morales is only minus 850 on DraftKings.
Only.
Okay, so you only need to wager $850 to win $100. Cool.
What's Burns on DraftKings?
Plus 575.
Bro, we got to get on that right after this.
Yeah.
All right. Next fight.
All
Who you
right,
got?
Adolfo versus Paul Craig. My brother. Is this fight at middleweight or light heavyweight?
This is light heavyweight, I believe.
So he's
Oh.
back up to light heavyweight. I'm going Paul Craig.
Dude, I am also going to go with your favorite fighter, Paul Craig. You've convinced me of his greatness.
Paul Craig is just has the most accomplishments.
In guard and MMA.
Dude, did you he got a 2-on-1 on Jamal Hill and pulled him down and was like, we're playing guard.
Like from standing?
Yeah.
He pulled guard.
Yeah, he grabbed 2-on-1, he pulled him down and pulled him in and then subbed him.
You know what's funny is I always tell our
He's
guys,
like, I'm just gonna break your shit.
there's no reason to pull guard ever in MMA. I think Paul Craig is the one exception to that, you know? Yeah, I'm going to go Craig. Who you got, Max?
I'm taking Craig too. And again, not
Wow.
just I'm taking Craig for the pick, but also the betting odds here are
Yeah.
crazy.
It's plus 350.
And minus 500, Bellato's a big dude, but minus 500 for a guy who's not even top 10 is kind of insane.
Dude, I might put a little on Craig by sub.
That's not a bad idea. Do you know what's crazy? I bet the odds aren't that different. I bet for him to win is plus 350. I bet for him to win by sub is 370. You know?
Yeah.
That's what happened with me and Prates. I put money on Prates to win by KO against Gary. And I forget what the odds were, but it was only slightly better for him to win by KO, which makes sense. It's if he's going to win, that's almost certainly how. You know? So that makes sense. Next fight.
Sadiq Youssef versus Marion Santos.
Who you got?
I don't know nothing about Marion Santos, but I know something about Sadiq Youssef. We fought on the same card.
Wait, really? Which one?
I think the Del Bruges card. I think he was on that card.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. Interesting.
Yeah, CFFC 60 something.
Oh, well, I'm going with the CFFC alum, Sadiq. That's who I got.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Sadiq as well. Max.
Yeah, I'm taking Sadiq too.
Right
Again,
on.
Also
odds,
a dog.
Sadiq's a dog here. There's a lot of
Why are we just all underdogs? This is crazy.
Hey, it's good for us if we're right.
Yeah, if we're right.
Which we don't have a great track record of being right, but hey.
But we have people who do have great track records.
Honestly, we could skip this. I don't know either of these guys.
Yeah,
oh no.
Julian Erosa?
No. Ruzaboyev. We do know him. He's
Wait,
the tall
we
guy.
just watched him fight.
Yeah. No, I'm going with him.
That wasn't that long ago. He
No,
just
it
fought.
wasn't.
He fought at 185 and 170.
Yeah.
Who did he fight last?
That
At
one was it.
185. We watched it.
Yeah. Who did he fight? He looked really good though.
Was it in October?
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Yeah, he fought in the Cejudo and Song card. He fought a late replacement.
That's right.
That's it.
But before that, he fought Buckley. He lost to Buckley right before that fight.
Okay.
Buckley,
Yeah.
he's 4-1 in his last 5. His only
Is
loss
he
is to
fighting
Buckley.
out of?
Uzbekistan?
No. Yeah. Well, is he fighting? Is he out of Philly?
Ruzaboyev?
Yeah. Is he at Marquez MMA?
I know I've seen him training there, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Because I was there while he was there.
Okay.
That's what made me think. I was like, dude. I've seen this dude in person. All right. Cool. Yeah. Ruzaboyev.
Max, what about you?
I'm taking Ruzaboyev too.
Right
So
on.
did Julian Erosa not just fight like within the last month?
Yeah, I think he did. He fights pretty off. He fought the Damage. Elkins, right?
Elkins.
Yeah.
he
Wasn't
fought-
that fight
Oh,
not like
yeah.
3
It
weeks
was
ago?
3/14. It was April 12th. He fought there in Elkins. It was literally a month ago.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was a month ago. Yeah. Dang.
Dude, run it back while you're still in shape. Love it. Make your money.
Yeah. He's a dog here. And I'll be taking Costa.
Me too. Max?
I mean, I want to take Costa, but I also want to. I'm so far behind on the picks right now. You guys are really kicking my ass right now, so I feel like I need to make some different
Well, let's
picks.
pull the picks up.
to get some change here.
Let's pull the picks up. Let's see where we're doing on our year picks here. Don't forget, Max, we're not even halfway through the year.
But hold on. Let's not let this get away. So what was your official pick then on that one?
I'm gonna take Erosa.
Ooh,
Why not?
okay.
So currently, Will's in first place.
Yeah, Mike, can you read those? You want me to give you the numbers?
You read them.
Okay, so Mike, you're sitting at 36-30-1. I'm at 39-27-1, and Max is at 35-31-1.
Oh, wow. So, Max, I only got you by one pick, and Will's really charging ahead. Because he picked JDM and Faraz Zahabi's little brother. What?
You know what's funny is, you know why I picked him initially?
Why?
Because I was like, oh, Aldo's getting old, and I didn't realize that, dude, Zahabi's like 38 as well.
Yeah.
So like I was off on why I made that pick.
When you made that pick, were you aware it was Faraz's brother?
Yeah, I knew
Okay.
that. Amen.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I knew that. I just thought he was,
like while we did the show doing those picks, I didn't know that.
So-
Like I wasn't making I know Faraz has
right,
a brother.
yeah.
But
So
I didn't make the connection that was him.
I did know that, and it's funny because the reason why I picked him was based on information that ended up being wrong, so I wouldn't have made that pick anyways, and I still think he lost the fight, you know what I mean? But hey, it worked out for me, so I'll take it. And Max, yeah, you going with Radke, bro. That's where you messed up.
Yeah, I thought Radke was gonna employ some head movement.
Oh, and Manon? Dude, what were you thinking? You went against the Bullet?
it was like 3-2. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. You're right.
I had a reason to believe she was gonna win. I just can't. Shevchenko I want to see Shevchenko and Zhang because something's got to give there.
Yeah.
Like Shevchenko is cool, but it's like, dude, you can't. You're killing everyone right now. Like, I want to see some struggle. You know, I want to see someone put up a war with her.
She's had some tough fights. Also, she's the first UFC champion to get the 8.
Oh, yeah.
Was it like rubies or whatever in the
Yeah.
belt? That's pretty cool. What do you think about that with the belt with them?
I think that's cool.
I like it.
Rather than them getting a new belt every time.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
And it like distinguishes like oh, you were just a champion or you were a dominant champion. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I think that's kind of cool. Now
Oh, yeah.
let me ask you about this. What do you think about her losing the belt, getting it belt, and the rubies still like counting from her last reign?
Yeah.
Like, should they have to restart, do you think, on each
No.
reign? No?
I
Interesting.
don't. I mean, why? Why would you yeah, I mean, it's just to see how many times you were champion in a row without losing it, or is it how many times you were champion, right? Like, here goes the thing. Like, the other alternative is you just get a new UFC belt every time.
Right.
So it'd be the same thing. It's not like they're like, oh, you know what? Since you did lose and now you're on another run, we're going to take those first 3 away.
See, I could see. I mean, I don't really care either way, but like I could see the argument being made that it's like, oh, these rubies are supposed to represent like this run. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, I have one belt that's got no rubies, and then I got it back, and I got 3 in it, or, you know, whatever. So like that's kind of cool too. But yeah, I have no problem with it being the way it is. I don't know. Max, you got any thoughts on it?
I think it's cool. I agree with Mike. I think that it would be weird if you had like 3 rubies and then you lost one fight and then you went on like on a 4-fight tear and you have to have 2 belts with 3 and 4 rubies respectively. It just looks weird.
Now, did they give her one when she got the belt back? Because I was under the impression it was supposed to be a ruby for a defense.
I think it is a ruby per defense.
Okay.
She might have filled out the belt before she
Lost
fought.
it to Grasso?
I think that's what it was, because I remember seeing that. Oh, she filled out all the rubies like it was.
So
it's been
even
around
then,
for a
I
while.
disagree with that. I think like you should get a ruby for that because it's to replace you from just getting a bunch of belts,
Right.
right? So had you lost, you don't give the belt back when you lose. You
Right.
keep your belt. You just aren't labeled the champion. So, for example, she had a belt and she had 8 rubies. So, in essence, she would have had 8 belts, right? Then she would have lost to Grasso, and then when she beats Grasso, she would have received a 9th belt.
Right.
You know? So, like, why wouldn't she just get a 9th ruby then? On the belt that she currently owns.
No, I see what you're saying. So it's like, basically, what you're saying is a ruby should represent each title win after you've gotten the belt.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool.
The belt's the first one. But here goes. So what I'm saying is like, if you don't, then you just got nothing for winning the title. You got absolutely nothing because you already have the belt.
What do you mean when she re-won
When she re-won it, yeah, then you get absolutely nothing.
I'm starting to lean towards. I think it'd be cool if each run like reset. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, I had a 3 ruby run, and then I had like a
That could be cool. That could be cool, but that's different than what I'm saying. What I'm
Right.
saying is like, if you don't reward the getting the title back with something, then she got nothing, right? Like if you're like, oh, you get no
back, but I see what you're saying.
She never lost it. She never gave it away. She physically had it in her house the entire time.
yeah. I see what you mean.
You know what
but
I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Okay,
right?
okay,
It's not
okay,
like
okay.
they were like, you know what? We're taking this trophy back. Like, you know what I mean? Like they don't take the belt from you.
Got you.
The belt
I see
is
what you're
just
saying
like
now.
it's
Right,
like
right.
it's fictitious.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, whoa, I actually have the belt, and then like through the middle of the night I do a home invasion on you. I take your belt, and now, oh, guess what? Now I'm the champ. You know, it's not 9/10 of the law. It's not possession of the belt, right? It's the title, that comes along with that the belt signifies.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
So then, therefore, nothing. She'd just be like, oh yeah, I got nothing because I already had this. At
Right.
home.
Yeah. No, I mean, in my scenario, I think you should get a new belt in that situation. But no, I get what you're saying now. And then, actually, last question about this: did she get a ruby for? Wait, was the first?
I think
fight?
the whole point is for there not to be multiple belts.
No, I get what you're saying. So hold on, how did it go down? Grasso won the first fight, right? Or was it the second one?
She won the first one.
She won the first one. Second was the draw.
Yeah.
Got it. On that draw, did Grasso get a ruby? Does that count as a defense because she didn't lose?
I don't know.
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't know. We're in the weeds. It doesn't really matter.
The official definition of the rubies is the number of successful title defenses a champion has made. So by that, I understand what you're saying, having it be 2 separate belts with a different set of rubies, but I also see what Mike is saying with it being like the amount of times that you were a champion.
Right.
Where if you lose
Like
the belt,
after your initial gain of the belt.
It's like you lose the belt, but then you come back and beat Grasso and win it. Well, you were a champion on that night, so you get a ruby for that fight, you know?
Yeah.
I could see that, but the official definition of them is the number of successful title defenses by a champion.
See, and that means that she shouldn't have got one for this, or sorry, for the when she got it back.
When she got it back, so
Yeah.
she just get you
Right.
just get nothing.
I think you should get a new belt with no rubies on it.
But the whole point of the rubies is that you don't get new belts now. You get your belt and that's it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying how I think it should be.
Yeah, and I'm just telling you that that's not how it is. So what we just found out, since it's only 4 defenses, is that she actually got nothing. That's what we just found out, right? Did we not just find that out?
I don't know what it is, but the way you're saying she got nothing,
She got
is
nothing.
killing me, man. It's so funny.
She didn't get it. Like, what
No,
did she
you're
get?
right.
What'd she get? What changed about her belt? Did she get a belt? No, she didn't get one because she already had one.
Actually, how does that work? So if you like, get a belt and then you defend it. Do they give you a new belt with a ruby in it, or do they like take your belt into
No, they take your belt and they put a ruby
pop
in
a
it.
ruby in?
Yeah.
Dude, that's hilarious.
That's the whole thing. It was the whole thing because DJ wanted his 10 belts because Daniel Cormier took a picture with like all his UFC belts, and Mighty Mouse was like, "What?" Mighty Mouse was like, "I only have one." They kept like,
no, that's not true. There's a picture of DJ with like a bunch of belts. He said that
It's true.
He said that he had a bunch of his stolen, I believe, from.
No, that's not the case.
Really?
I am pretty certain I'm right.
Did I get hit with an AI image of DJ with like 9 belts?
No, he got his belts after, but he got he was like already like 7 title defenses in, and they just kept giving him his belt back.
Oh, and then he was
instead
like,
of giving him new belts. And because DC posted a picture
Right.
with multiple UFC belts, DJ was like,
"What about me?"
"Wait, hold on a second. You're getting a new belt with every defense?" And like at this point in time, DJ had like 7 or 8.
Right.
And he was like, "I want mine." Right.
Dude.
And then that's what, and this ultimately led to them being like, "We're doing a ruby."
Bro.
Because we can't keep like making
all these belts.
Yeah.
Dude, that's insane. I didn't realize, dude, the UFC did DJ so dirty, man.
Dude, they did not do him well.
They did not respect
No, they
him.
just kept taking his and giving it right back. Like, so if he would have lost, well, obviously
They would have taken it from his house.
no, like because they kept making him bring it to the fight.
Yo, that's crazy.
Have you heard about the story with when Connor won the second belt at
Yeah,
205?
whose
You know what
belt
I'm
was
talking
it?
about?
Oh, yeah, someone ran their belt
Kamaru's-
out.
Was it Kamaru's
It
belt?
was
or-
Woodley's.
Oh, Woodley's.
He
yeah.
won it earlier in the night, and they had to run backstage and be like, "Yo, can we borrow that real quick?" And
Yeah.
bring it back out to Connor.
Dude,
'cause they
good
just
for
didn't have
Woodley.
the extra belts there.
Yeah.
Man, solid guy.
That's another guy
He's a
though that
talent.
the UFC just didn't really treat well.
Nice. Yeah. He was a really good champion too.
Dude, he's awesome. Dude, the belt DJ, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's funny because the WBC, they have a rule where if you win one of their belts, you don't get to keep it until you've defended it once. And you have to defend it within like 6 months or something. So you win a WBC Muay Thai belt.
You
right?
take a picture with it.
Take a picture with it. No, you take it. They expect you to bring it back. I think, maybe, I don't know. But then if you defend it, then you can keep that belt.
Oh, that's so dumb.
I agree.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
All right, let's finish out these picks and let's move on because I think we got 1 or 2 more things to discuss. Last fight we're picking on here. Who you got?
Jared Gordon.
I also have Gordon.
I'm taking Moises.
Nice. I like it. All right, let's move. Okay. Oh, updating on the betting. Did anybody do their betting numbers? Track them? Here goes what I know. Lucas Jones has more than doubled his money. He has 47 point something units.
Wow. Okay.
Danny is up there too. Danny had a shutout weekend. I believe his units are also in the 40s.
I don't remember exactly what I'm at. I think I'm back to like 17-ish or something.
I'm at like 5.5.
Okay. I'm doing better than
I
that.
think I'm sitting around like 16.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
I'm
probably
at
in the same boat.
You
then.
and I are in the same area here. We need to have, if Danny or Lucas can just DM some of their more recent standings to our account. We need to get those.
So Danny's, I saw all Danny's on Saturday because I was with him during the day. I know Lucas made 1 bet, and he bet everything on it. Yeah. So that's his thing.
What was the
He's a
one?
wild
What was
boy.
the one bet though?
Okay, so he had 38 units, 38 and change, right? He put all of them on Bilal and JDM going more than 2.5 rounds. All of it. The whole thing. He was like, it either does, and I'll be at 47.7,
Or I'm done.
or it doesn't, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah, dude.
I really like that style of
Dude, he's
thinking.
going to do the same thing this week. He did it last week, too. He just makes
Actually-
1 bet. He takes 1 bet that he's like fairly sure on,
Yeah.
and he's like, everything.
Dude, what a wild
Everything
boy. I
on
love
this.
it. Also, Poland's is doing well, too. He sent us some bets.
Yeah, dude, but I'm not doing his, not like,
Yeah, I'm not
them.
doing the math, but he was doing well. I just remember that.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Poland's is actually, though, here goes the thing with Poland's. Like, everybody else is running, game units, right? Like, like, unit might be $1, might be $2, might be $5 or whatever. Poland's unit is,
He's a wild boy.
he bet $4 on the Bo Nickel fight. And I saw it. Yeah.
Which way did he bet?
Not, or he bet Bo Nickel.
Oh, jeez, dude.
But he did well this week, so, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. like Pollins is like betting with real money.
He's a wild
Like
boy.
real money. Like his one unit, I think, is if you added everybody else's entire
Right.
bankroll,
Yeah.
it comes to be like maybe if you add all you guys,
Yeah.
all you guys, it's not even one of his units. Once you add me in, it becomes like 3 units.
Right. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
All right. So, off of MMA, I have some unfortunate news. Last Saturday, Brody got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want to disclose exactly what the injury is, but he got hurt. And it was one of those things where I was like, maybe we can see if it gets a little bit better. You know, Isaac was there. He was taking a look at it. And, you know, Isaac very graciously was like, hey, come through. Like, I'm going to, you know, get some treatment on it, which, you know, shout out to Isaac. Isaac is the man.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like all of Pittsburgh, like, the fight community knows Isaac's the man, but, like, you guys don't know how much of the man he is. Isaac's awesome.
Yeah, seriously.
So thank you, Isaac. But anyways, Brody went to go see him on, so it was Saturday, I think it was like Monday or something. And then I had him do like a little test or workout on Tuesday, and it wasn't going to get better. So I hit up the promoter and I'm like, hey man, I'm really sorry. Like we're willing to run it back when he's healthy, but like he's injured. I got to pull him. You know what I mean? And that's the other thing too, is like, I am totally fine with putting fighters in hurt. Cause like, that's just how it is all the time. Brody's first fight, he couldn't throw kicks with one leg. Like he was hurt, right? He wasn't injured. So I was like, I still, you know, like this, I pulled him because we had to, you know what I mean? So the promoter doesn't get back to me. And then, unfortunately, we saw his would-have been opponent made an Instagram post being like, oh, Brody's, you know, I'm not surprised. He's known for pulling out of fights and whatever. And I was like, that's crazy.
Has he pulled out of?
Not a single one.
That's crazy.
So, and like apparently his friends were like, you know, saying like all kinds of comments and stuff. One kid was like, oh yeah, like something about like him pulling out. And I was about to be like, yo, the only thing he pulls out of is, and I was gonna say some other stuff, but you know, whatever, keeping it relatively professional-ish. But and then I guess Poland's like sent him a message, was like, hey man, you know, just to clear things up and like trying to be respectful and everything, you know, we've never pulled out of any fights, I don't know like what you heard, blah blah blah, but like, you know, maybe like show a little tact, like, and I'm sure he sent like a respectful message. The opponent just sent back LOL. I'm like,
dude,
yo,
that's gonna be some karma for this dude.
This, and here's the thing, if you're like a douchebag MMA fighter and you're always a douchebag MMA fighter,
well, this dude's like, a douchebag Muay Thai fighter,
right? But what I'm saying is like, if you come across that way and you're consistently that way, then it's like, oh, okay, cool, like you're who you are, you know what I mean? I expect that. What bothers me is like, in like Muay Thai kind of has this like, you know, tradition around it, and like the culture of it is supposed to be respectful, right? And like this organization, like they make you wear a monkong and like, you know, bow to your corner at least, even if you're not doing a full wide crew, and like it's very much built on respect. And I'm like, dude, the fact that this kid is like in this type of space and acts that disrespectfully, I'm like, dude, that's gonna turn into some bad karma. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, this dude, like, I mean, maybe he's just like not new. Maybe he's like new and doesn't understand that, like, you know, people get hurt.
Hey,
right?
I mean, 13-3. You'd think that he, you know,
well, maybe he's willing. Maybe he's willing to put it down that like he will fight no matter how injured he is for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
And maybe he's willing to live with that. Maybe he's willing to, you know, partake illegally. You know, because it's not very legal for you to step into fights with like a certain amount of injuries. Now you're talking about you're potentially performing insurance fraud.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe he's willing to bite that bullet and, you know, just take unnecessary L's because he's too injured.
Yeah. And I would, you know, knowing how Brody performs, I would say that he's probably lucky that Brody got hurt.
Yeah, for sure.
So, unfortunately, Brody's out of this fight. We'll heal him up, get him back as soon as possible.
All right, so let's push. What time do we got?
You have 10 minutes.
Okay, all right. Should we save my question for another show?
I think we should and or could. I have a surprise question for you.
All right,
that we do have time for. Okay. So, I guess it's not a question. It's like a segment idea. And if you hate this, then we'll find out. So, you and I like to have conversations where sometimes we'll just start arguing stuff just because we want to argue it, right?
Yeah.
Whether I go like, hey, make this point, or plays devil's advocate for this, or I'll say, hey, I'm taking this point, you take this point. Whether we believe it or not, we just like to argue different points, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to give you an argument and you have to make it in the next 60 seconds.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Argue to me that Greco is the best style wrestling base for MMA.
Okay, so Greco, I mean, it's incredibly useful. So number one, whenever we're seeing setups in wrestling, majority of setups that you're seeing in your folk style and your freestyle is heavily reliant on the hand fight, right? We're in a bent over stance, reliant on the hand fight. That completely gets taken away when strikes are involved. All right. So like all of our collar ties, push and pull in posts, arm drags, elbow passes, ducks, all of that is completely gone. So where we see wrestling really translate more so in MMA is once the connection is already made, because all of that has been replaced by strikes. So now you go into where is the connection already made, right? And for someone like me with more of a folk style background, that connection is typically made, at the hip or below the hip. All right. And that's where wrestling starts to come into play. So where Greco has a unique kind of like skill set for MMA is the Greco connection. The hand fight and the Greco connection is still completely applicable in MMA, right? Whereas the traditional folk style and freestyle hand fight is not as applicable, because in Greco, since legs cannot be attacked, you stand in a more upright stance, very similar to striking, right? And we gauge into clinches like immediately, right? Like nothing is happening from space in Greco. There's like one move you do from space. So they immediately engage in the clinch. So it kind of pretty much almost one-to-one accurately represents, the clinch in MMA. So therefore, it would translate best to MMA in that instance. Even if, hold on, I'm not even done. Even if you add strikes in, like knee strikes, right? We were talking about like RDR and Bo Nickel when they were in the over-under, and Bo Nickel was withdrawing his hips, and we withdraw the hips in like folk style and freestyle because we still need to defend against the legs, right? And it allows you to pummel for underhooks and stuff. In Greco, because there is no attack to the legs, they don't disengage their hips. Their clinch, their hips are in on both, so actually their clinch is already set up to kind of adequately defend against knees to the body. So, it does have a terrific one-to-one translation to MMA.
Dude, that was beautiful. Would you like to share your actual opinions now?
Yeah, I think Greco is the worst for MMA. I think that, the ability to attack and control the legs, Greco's still positive for MMA. Positive for MMA. But I would say folk style actually translates the best to MMA because the emphasis on control after the takedown. Right? And controlling the takedown is not just based upon exposure of back to the mat. You have to control the position, right? Whereas in like freestyle or Greco, if we're in a position and I just expose your back to the mat, I'm going to score on it. I am under no obligation to control you therefore after, right? And it's not the takedown that matters in MMA. It's what happens after. It's like, what did it lead to?
Exactly.
Therefore, folk style best kind of simulates that for MMA purposes. Now, where you're going to be able to argue, oh, well, freestyle is better, is freestyle does have much better athletes because it's practiced on the global stage. Folk style, we're limited to just the United States, and we're limited to kids basically ages 23 and below because it's only wrestled scholastically. So once you're out of college, it's done. Right? But if the world wrestled folk style, that translation to MMA would be incredible, and you can kind of see it with like the Dagestanis who it's more closely related to Sambo, which is also a takedown based art that heavily relies on control after the takedown as well. So you kind of get a vibe off of it off that. So I do actually think folk style is the best, but you could clip that Greco clip and believe that Greco is.
Dude, that's awesome. You really nailed that. And that's for anyone who wonders like what Mike and I talk about on road trips going to fights. It's a lot of that.
Yeah, you can just do like an argument and then you can switch sides. Like switch. Boom.
Maybe we'll have to do a segment where you and I argue against each other, and then halfway through we have to switch.
Yeah. I mean, cool. I'm down for that segment. All right. Okay, here goes one. Let's get the fans involved on this, or the friends involved on this.
All five of you guys.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to come in here, and I just had like an off-topic question. We don't have time for it. But who is one UFC fighter that you were surprised never became a champ? That you are most surprised never became a champ? I have one very heavily in my head.
Now, are we counting interim champions or no?
Interim champions are champions.
They count as champs? Okay.
But like someone you're like, dude, I can't believe they never became a champ.
So we're not going to discuss right now? No. Because I had an idea.
What time? Give me the time.
Coming in on 40.
Let's discuss.
Okay, real quick. So I don't believe this. This wasn't my thought, but I would say like the MMA community as a whole might have been at the time, obviously hindsight's 2020, surprised that Brandon Vera never became a champion.
So that's a good one, and that's going to be a good answer. I think hindsight would change that.
Yeah.
But like whenever he was coming into the UFC, there was talks that he was going to be a 2-division champion.
Right.
Right? Like definitely a future champion. Max, do you have anybody?
So we're not including interim champs.
No,
I
they
You
guess.
can include interim champs if you want.
Well, mine wasn't going to be. I think.
Mine's if you include the interim champs, mine's not. He never got an interim title, or like no one who has one. Do I think is more like was more surprising to me than this person.
I think that you have a lot of guys like they're both interim champs. So I'm not naming them, but you have a lot of guys like Poirier and Ferguson who were like guys that people when you have those lists of like who are the best people to never win a title. Those are guys you're going to see on that list a lot.
Right.
But the number of times that he got like right there and it was just weird little things that like external forces or like just tiny little moments in the fights that prevented him from being champ. Yoel Romero.
I was just about to say,
Wow.
well,
So here goes mine. All right. So okay. So even if you include like Dustin and Tony Ferguson on that crazy run, my thing is like just like pure like skill set and like this is like what I'm driving at. This is somebody who like 2, 3, 4 fights into their UFC career, you're like, yo, this dude's gonna be a champ.
okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, yo, there's no way this dude's not a champ, right? Like I would say like these guys like Poirier, Ferguson and stuff, those are people that they were like deep, they were like close to
Right.
being a champ where you're like, oh, they could be a champ.
Right.
So I do think this argument is slightly different than like who is the best to never win it.
Right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
this guy would not be the best to never win it. This is not like you'd be like, look at all these accomplishments and he still never became a champ.
Right.
It's just somebody who had like all the talent in the world and like never did it, and it's Rory McDonald.
Dude, that's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Yeah, dude.
That's fantastic. Okay, along those
I
lines.
like there was for so long where I was like, yeah, this dude's gonna be
It's a matter
champ
of
and he's
time.
gonna be champ.
Uh-huh.
The thought along Rory McDonald, and this was fairly commonly held in the community, but definitely held by me, was Rory is GSP's heir. Once GSP retires, Rory takes over
Yep.
and just runs it till he retires.
Exactly.
I think that's that's a different question than like what I was thinking. That
Right.
the way you phrased that was a lot
Right.
different. Where it's like someone who could have only had like 5, 6 fights in the UFC, but after their first 3, you're like, oh, that guy's going to be a champion.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, like, as fans, we're all prisoners of the moment. And, like, there have been times I've watched one fight and been like, oh, that guy's going to be a champ. Like, there was a while where I was like, dude, Jalen Turner's going to be a champion because I saw him, like, beat someone up. And I was like, oh, dude, he looked
Yeah.
incredible. Someone else who I remember had a fight like that, and I can't remember which one it was. Evans Dunham, who
Evan
lost to...
Dunham.
He had a while where he was, like, looking great.
Dude, he had a great fight against
Sean Shirk, which I thought he won. But
No, Evan Dunham, yeah, but like no one, like none of these, like all these names, I agree, and like I felt like similar with a lot of these names, but like Rory McDonald, it was so it was a matter of fact,
Right.
You know, and I mean,
Yeah.
like he went and he had those great fights with Robbie Lawler,
Yeah.
and like stuff like that. So he made it close, but it was just like, dude, he was the complete package. He could strike, he could strike in all facets of striking. He was super good in the clinch.
Yep.
He could grapple his ass off, and he had great takedowns, and he had a great mentor.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, what, 23 when he got in?
Yeah.
And GSP's his, like, guy, and the whole system around GSP.
And they were
you
the
know what I
same
mean?
weight, and like
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
that's a great answer right there.
it just goes to show how hard it is to be a champ.
That's one that I want to go back now and like look at some of it, because you can't use that with some current guys. Like Hamzat would be a great example of that, but it's like he might go on and do that. You know what I mean? So it's like you kind of have to go back a generation. I kind of want to look at that now and see if I can get you any better answers than that.
Yeah.
Because that's a really good question.
Yeah, so weigh in, guys. Let us know what you think about that. I'd be surprised to hear a better answer than Rory McDonald, though. And the reason that this question popped up is he was obviously, with the fights being in Canada this week, he was being interviewed and
Right.
like brought up as a topic. They're like, "Are you going to fight again? You think about fighting again?" And he was like, "Nah, no way, bro.
Yeah.
No shot." All right, cool. All right, guys, make sure you hit up our socials. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and like and subscribe on YouTube. Hit the little bell to get the notifications for when these episodes drop. They typically drop on a Tuesday unless Max is out of power from a storm. So, yeah, that's it. You guys got anything to add? All right, we're out. Peace.